All right, welcome everybody to, I guess this is the Bageltop Games podcast. It's the first time I've done something like this, so it'll be fun. I decided to talk to some friends from the Bageltop Games Discord and also the Legendary community as a whole, four individuals who went to Gen Con 2022 this year and were being real awesome with sharing stories and pictures and took part in a lot of events. And they're on here to talk about their experience at Gen Con. We've got some awesome folks here, including Montax30, who is the 2022 Upper Deck Legendary Gamer winner. So I look forward to talking to him about that. What's up, Monty?
Hello, how's it going?
Pretty good. We've also got Captain Metroid, who is the creator and curator of LegendaryCardGame.com, the very new Legendary Card database, and he's done a ton of awesome work into that. So welcome, Captain Metroid.
Thank you. I'm really glad to be here and talking with everyone.
Awesome. And then, of course, we have two of the members of House of Mao Gaming, Kyla and Ollie. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
So all four of you attended Gen Con this year and participated in a lot of things, including Upper Deck events. So first of all, we'll start with what was your overall thoughts about how Gen Con went for you? How did the Upper Deck events go? And then we'll get more into depth about what went down there. So whoever wants to start.
Well, for me, the overall experience was great. It was actually I was a little more nervous going into it, thinking there was going to be just so much going on, and I thought I was going to have to go to the quiet room and get away from all the people. But it was actually great. Like everybody, the space was nice. Like it was full, but it wasn't like claustrophobic full. But the events were great. Getting to meet the other two there, from the bagel community was a treat. Was really looking forward to that. It was great for me.
Yeah, I think at one point I made a comment about the noise level in the event hall, which was basically right beside the exhibits. It was just they were kind of connected but not connected. It was weird. But I made a comment that it sounded like a high school cafeteria. Like it wasn't overwhelmingly loud. It just had that drone of voices having dozens of conversations.
Did it drown out over time just as you were there, or were you constantly aware of how loud it was?
I more or less drowned out. Like I felt myself getting hoarse over time because you did have to speak up in order to be heard. But as far as thinking to myself, oh God, it's really loud in here. I rarely was thinking that, and I too have sensory overload issues too a lot of the time.
And you guys were just off you drove up there, correct? How long did it take you to get there?
10 hours it took us to get up there. We had 3 breaks in between. But it was a relatively smooth drive getting up there.
Keywords: getting up there.
Getting back is a different story.
Coming back was not fun. Between having con drop and just generally it was 4 or 5 days of just constant moving around and being way more active. And so our bodies just kind of on Monday afternoon we're just we're gonna stop. Working well and enjoy being cooped up in the car.
Yeah, I hear that it sounds like you had a lot of activity there, though, so you made the most of it.
Yeah.
Captain Metro, what about you?
So it was my first time at Gen Con. I'm not sure about everyone else. I've been to PAX Unplugged a few times, and this was a much larger experience. I think maybe almost double the amount of people. I was only there for about a day and a half, so I didn't get to see everything, and it definitely felt like you need all 4 days to see everything. And I spent most of my time with Upper Deck at events and their booths, and everyone there was absolutely fantastic. It was great to meet a lot of the people that we see on stream, like Rich and Jade, and to take part in some of the demos. And just for my first Gen Con, it was overall a really excellent experience.
That's great, especially for the relatively short time that you were there. And I want to get more into the demos a little bit later because I do have a lot of questions about a lot of the different games. But Monty, I did mention that Monty was the winner of 2022's Legendary Gamer, which was a contest where you could enter with a video or text submission. Did you guys all enter that one? I know Ollie and Kyla, you did.
Yeah, I entered it last year and this year as well.
Awesome. Yeah, so it was you enter with giving the reason why you think you're the legendary gamer, and you win, I think, free games for a year, a bunch of swag, and a trip to Gen Con 2022. So, Monty, given that you won that, how was your experience at Gen Con, and were there any special? Did you get the special legendary gamer treatment that was implied there?
It was very awesome. It was also my first Gen Con. I'm not much of a gamer before Legendary. Legendary really got me into the whole gaming thing. So I was very overwhelmed by the amount of games that were there. And like Kyla, I thought I was going to use the Quiet Room a lot, but I didn't have to use it. So it was just awesome experience in general. Just I stuck by Upper Deck a lot. So they did treat me very well. They they gave me all the games that I needed. I had the 12 free games for a year, and
Nice.
they had a suite there for me if I wanted to chill out and relax. And I was like, awesome. I'll come and visit you guys occasionally. And every time I walked over there, someone handed me a promo, which is even better.
They just they kept it going, like they were filling up
They
your
kept it
drink,
going.
just giving you another
They're
promo.
like, oh, Monty, here's a whole bunch of promos. I'm like, oh, great. So by the
That's
second
super
day, I
cool.
think I had like all of them.
Nice. That's pretty neat. So yeah, if you want to enter, by the way, you can go to upperdeckstore.com/legendary-gamer, and you might get the treatment that Monty got this year. Sounds pretty cool.
See, what you should have done, Monty, is you should have taken gotten more than one set of the promos and signed one set of them and gave them away, just one card at a time. Hi, I'm the
I
legendary gamer. Here's a
didn't think
promo.
about that. Should have done that.
Yeah, or
I
get
need a
the one with
management.
your picture on it.
Yeah, like their first legendary gamer, and coinciding kind of with their 10th anniversary Gen Con. It's a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
All I know is that we got, I believe, I don't know if you've signed any other cards, Monty, but we did get a signed, a customized card that we had printed for Monty long ago that we used when we were on stream, and we got him to sign it.
Which was very cool. Such a cool experience.
Yeah,
It
that's
was very
neat. So
awesome
yeah,
to see physically.
for context, Ollie and Kyla on their streams, they adjusted names and images of these starter cards for folks on our stream, which I thought was pretty cool. So that was the one that they had Monty sign.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. Awesome. So thank you guys for that. Let's jump into some of the more specifics. I assume everybody went to the upper deck area and spent a lot of time there, and there were a lot of things going on, including some demos. And what games were they demoing with Legendary? Was it just old expansions, new stuff, as far as the demos were concerned? And I know they demoed also Legendary Encounters the Matrix, which we'll talk about that too a little later. But so were there walk-up demos and then scheduled demos?
It was all scheduled demos. They had time slots from, I believe it was noon to 4:45 or something like that, and they were in 45-minute increments. And you got to demo either Black Widow, which is an upcoming expansion, or Black Panther, which was just released at Gen Con. And then, of course, they had the premiere of the demo for Legendary Encounters Matrix as well.
And they also had 007. Well,
Oh, they did have 007. I forgot about that one.
Yes.
Oh, the Spy Who Loved Me, the new expansion.
Mm-hmm.
it was
Awesome.
the new one.
Yeah, the time slots for those filled up pretty quickly. So when I tried to get in to play the Matrix on Sunday, I had to rush in there as soon as the doors open, and they filled up pretty quickly. So I had to make sure I got in there to be able to try that one out.
Yeah, the lady at the desk was recommending that people show up anywhere between 10, which is when the exhibits open, and noon to sign up.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I didn't get to go to Gen Con, obviously, because I get to talk to you guys about it, but I got to go to a Comic-Con this year, and the lines were crazy for events and things like that. Like, especially if you want to go to any of the panels, you had to be there super early. So even for a smaller thing like this, smaller in quotes, I can get that. As far as the demo, so did you all get to go to a demo? And if so, what was your experience like at the demo? What did you play? And just overall thoughts on the demo experience there. And by the way, thank you to Ollie and Captain Metroid for sending me pictures of Black Widow. I have all the pictures of almost all the cards up, thanks to mostly you guys, and that was very helpful. What was your overall experience of the demos, and what did you get to try?
I tried.
Oh,
Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead, Monty.
No, I was just saying, I tried every single one of them. I actually played Black Widow, I think 3 times while I was there. I love the Black Widow. I can't wait for it to come out. Red Guardian is going to be my favorite character, I'm pretty sure. And Black Panther was great to get some experience with that. I'd never played Matrix I never played Encounters before, so playing the Matrix was pretty cool to get that aspect of the game. It's kind of similar to regular Legendary, but with a twist, so I loved it.
I was going to ask if you played the other Encounters games before, like Alien, and if this was any similar to those.
Nope, this is the first time I've ever played anything Encounters, so
Gotcha.
it was pretty neat, And the 007 was pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, for those listening, the Encounters Legendary games, it plays like a regular Legendary game, but it plays out in stages based on a story from whatever the property is. So Alien will take you through multiple movies, and it's more of a staged homage to the plot of the story rather than Marvel Legendary, which is more randomized. You can make scenarios if you want, but it's designed to be all mixed together. But very cool.
The first one that I did was playing through Black Widow, and I played with a woman and her father, and the father had never played before, and he got off some of the coolest Red Guardian combos that I think anyone will ever have playing the expansion, and he had no idea what he was doing and couldn't really appreciate the gravity of the situation. And then there was another gentleman there, and he was pulling off these really great combos, and the daughter and me who knew what we were doing couldn't get any traction or anything going, but I still had a really great experience just seeing and interacting with the new cards. And like Monty, I'm also incredibly excited for Red Guardian.
That's cool. Yeah. So Red Guardian, by the way, I have his. I'm showing it on the screen of the recording right now. So all of his cards have one recruited effect. So when you recruit them, you do something. They all have specifically when recruited, send this undercover. And then the new mechanic in Black Widow is unleash from undercover. So he can come out of your victory pile where he goes undercover and does stuff. And he has effects like draw a card, you get extra attack. You can send other heroes undercover, and you can bring them all out at once. So I can see how that can that can be a lot of fun with all the combos. So Ollie and Kyla, how was your demo experience at Gen Con this year?
Generally, it was pretty good. The Black Widow we got to play. That was the first one that we signed up for, and it was a little rough going at the beginning. I can't quite remember if the guy running it was. I think we had a question or something, and he didn't have an answer to it, but that may have been an event. It's been a week or two. But generally speaking, Black Widow was a lot of fun. I think we won our game, which was interesting. Or did we win our game?
No, we did not. You hit the mastermind once.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, we hit the mastermind. That's what it was.
And the only mastermind they featured was Taskmaster, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
It was a really cool mastermind. We didn't get to get a peek at the second one, so cool. There's still some secrets.
Yeah, I purposefully, at the end of the game, like I guess you could say I was trying to be sneaky with the photographs because I wasn't sure if we were like allowed to do that, and I apologize, I protect if we weren't. Too late now.
I asked, and that's how I got so many pictures. They said, "Sure, go ahead, take as many as you want."
Oh well, I should have had the guts to ask like you did, and I would have done it as well. But I purposely made sure to get pictures of the mastermind tactics because we got to hit him once, so we got to see like what his style was going to be, and I was like, I wonder if they all do this, and so I picked up the stack and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm taking pictures of this because every single one of them is all henchman related, and it's just a brilliant design.
Yeah, his thing is to like beef up the henchmen and bring them back in, which is which henchmen were they using with the demo game?
Doombot Legion?
Yeah, we had Doombots.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. There's so many cool different henchman mechanics, so I can't wait to just try them all. Like, I want to play Taskmaster with every single henchman group. There's not that many. It's possible.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. The heroes worked really well together, I think. I played mostly Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think Ollie was. Were you getting red? We were kind of all sharing. I'm blanking on his name. I want to call
Red Guardian. We were all sharing Red Guardian a little bit. I tried to do him the most at first, but everything that I got made to get sent undercover.
Yeah.
And so my deck ended up being like 2 heroes at the end of it.
Nice. Yeah, it looks really fun. My thing was dodge returning. I think I mentioned in the Discord about a year ago. I'm like, you know what? Now that Black Widow's the thing, I think dodge is coming back, and so I'm getting my imaginary internet points on that one. But it is right now the keyword that has been absent for the longest between expansions. So I'm very happy to see it again. How did it feel in this one? Because in Villains, it can kind of break the game, especially with things like Electro. So how was it in this?
We didn't see it a lot in ours.
Yeah, we didn't. I mean, between Black Widow and White Tiger, they were using dodge a lot, but that's the only thing. That's the only time I saw it. It wasn't played a lot.
Yeah, I didn't really get to take advantage of any dodge cards, so it didn't really work out for me.
Okay, well that's more to discover later, which is neat. And I could have to imagine if they're doing this and then Infinity Saga later, I have to imagine that we're going to see Black Widow previews soon because I'm sure there's even still some things to see that we haven't seen yet. As far as the villain groups, I did have a question because you guys are all able to get me pictures. 4 villains from each group, and we all know that that may not be all of them. So were there any villains that you saw that we did not get pictures of, or do you think those were all 8 villains in the set?
I remember there being villains I think I couldn't get pictures of because, like I didn't do what Captain Metroid did and ask if I could take pictures. I was kind of doing it in between. So I think there were more, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I just took pictures of the ones that happened to come out, but we didn't. 45 minutes. You don't get very far through the deck.
Yeah, I didn't. If it was like me and like Kyla and a couple of like friends that we could have brought or something like that, I would have probably taken more time at one of the demos. But considering that we had 2 perfect strangers across from us, I didn't want to ruin their experience.
Oh no, not
taking pictures.
Not at all. But between you guys and I think it was baby Breloom who got the last set of pictures, we got pretty much everything, which was really cool. So it'll be a surprise if those show up. So awesome! I'm glad that Black Widow sounds really fun. It looked like a lot of fun. And you guys were, by the way, let's talk about Black Panther for a second. You were able to demo it, and they were giving away. Let's talk about promos in general. So Monty, you mentioned one time you went by, you got promos given to you. There were some special promos given out for specifically the 10-year anniversary of Legendary. There were a set of 20 different promos of heroes and masterminds from previous expansions with some special flair on them. There was also a Throne's Favor promo, and each of you, when you got a Black Panther expansion, you got a Throne's Favor promo as well. So how did you guys do at promo collecting? Did you get your Throne's Favor promo? And Ollie and Kyle, again, they sent me a Throne's Favor promo, so thank you guys for that. But how was the promo experience here?
I'll let Kyla tell our promo experience.
Yes, please.
I mean, our promo experience was quite a bit of fun, trying to collect them all. We did end up getting a full set, and then we got some duplicates. Every event we played at, they gave us one for participating. I think we ended up. I won a win-a-box Black Panther, and they included the Throne's Favor promo with that as well.
Very
which
cool.
I wasn't expecting that because I thought you had to buy it. We were able to trade with some people, and possibly also at the booth. Somebody might have been nice to us and let us trade in a couple that we had extra for some that we didn't have. The one I actually really liked the most was when we did the Matrix demo. Is they gave us a Matrix Neo promo, which the Matrix was a lot of fun. I didn't get a chance to talk about that, but it was. I really like the cards. I really like the promos. My only complaint on them is that there's a couple that aren't double-sided. So like, it was just
like
one
the Illuminati, etc.
Yeah, the Illuminati was only one side. There were no epic sides, obviously. So putting it into our collection was a little more difficult for me, but they look great. I really like the style of them.
Yeah, that's cool. I was curious how they looked in person versus in the images. I would imagine they have to look a lot better because they don't probably photograph well or upload well because of the shininess of them.
Yeah, when I was taking pictures of them for my site, it was extremely difficult to keep them exciting looking and not just like bland when the camera was head on with them. So it had to manipulate the angles a little bit.
Yeah, I actually vaguely remember when they showed off the promos not being that excited about them because they looked bland on camera. But when we got our first set from our first event, I was like, oh wow, these were actually looking really smooth. They look really nice.
Yeah, they look awesome. I love the looks of them. I think Gladiator Hulk's my favorite one.
I like Ant-Man for some reason.
Ant-Man's got that like neat
has-
pseudo 3D background, so I can see that lending itself well to the shininess.
Yeah, my favorite's the Illuminati.
That's the one they had on the bag, right? The swag bag had one side had the open warfare image.
Yeah.
What was the other side? Was it Inhumans?
It was.
It was the villains that are on a scheme twist, I think.
Oh no, it was the one from the Ambitions. The Ambitions
Oh
card.
yeah, that's what it was.
And I love that art, and I wish that art was on the Master Strike.
Yes.
And so, speaking of the swag, there was those tote bags. Did you guys get T-shirts, lanyards, anything else?
By Sunday, they were like throwing things at us. So
What did they throw at you?
they threw like I have like 6 bags. I have like 4 T-shirts. So yeah, they were just giving away shirts and bags to anybody that was walking by the booth.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
I wish we hadn't missed that opportunity the last day.
No, the last thing I walked by, all they gave me was a bag.
Oh,
Yeah, I was talking to Jade from Upper Deck, and what I had to do was send an email to Upper Deck promising that I was going to enter the Legendary Gamer contest. I said, I'm here standing next to Jade, promising her that I'm going to enter the contest, and she laughed and then went and got me a T-shirt.
That's hilarious.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's how I ended up getting mine, and I ended up getting slightly over 2 sets of the promos.
Wow.
I bought a bunch of Black Panthers for friends here at home and bought some duplicate stuff I want to give away on my website once I figure out how to legally do a giveaway. And then Monty, when I met up with him, he was the first Bageltop person that I met up with. He just handed me some of his extras.
Monty did the same to us.
Yeah,
That's
and
super cool.
so I got a little bit over 2 sets, and I'm going to be giving some of those extras away eventually.
Speaking of that, awesome of you to get extras to give away, and special shout out to, if you're listening to this, Crockett8513, who was in our Discord. And he's like, "Hey, anybody who needs a Black Panther expansion, message me. I will buy it for you, and then we can coordinate sending me payment, and I'll send it out to you." And I think he did like 18 Black Panther expansions that way to
yeah,
a bunch of people,
You did
which
a
is
he
lot.
hooked a
like
lot of people up.
yeah, he did. And they got the promo too. He had a picture of a bag with full of Black Panther expansions. He checked to make sure he could get as many as he wanted to, and he didn't do it for scalping. He did it to send them out to people who wanted to get them, and that's super cool. So the fact that came from this community just makes me very happy. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
neat.
he was an all-star.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
best
it's
thing about
incredible.
it, in my opinion, is the fact that he, like, people overseas that weren't going to get this expansion for probably months are now going to have access, or a few of them now have access to it, and I think that's great.
That's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We bought. He had already got one for off the cuff, and then I asked him. I was like, "Do you need anything else?" And he said, "Yeah, if you can pick me up a what was it?
Guardians.
Guardians, the new Guardians set." So I got him that. I shipped that off to him a couple days ago. So
Very cool. And some people may have sent me some extra ones from Gen Con, and we're probably going to give some of those away in the tournament, because during the tournament, I know what expansions you do and don't have. So I know who would receive one for the first time. So we'll get back to that when the fall tournament comes back around. I still have an anonymous donor who has not been disclosed who's still sending me stuff. So it should be fun. So you mentioned Legendary of the Matrix, talked about a little bit. So anybody who got to demo it, it is the latest in the Legendary Encounters series. It was a surprise for this for Gen Con. There were a few surprises in the versus side of things. I think Legendary Encounters was the only legendary surprise. Um, it plays through, I think, the 3 movies in the trilogy. I think the demo was only the first movie, and it features illustrated cards. And you also mentioned there was a Neo promo as well. So those of you who played Legendary Encounters, if you want to talk about it, how did the game go? If you've seen the Matrix or not, and if this game lended itself well, and if you think you're going to pick it up when it's available.
from what the guy demoing it was saying is the Encounters is just going to be the first movie.
No, I did get confirmation that it is the first 3 movies.
Oh, it is the first 3. Okay.
It is, but they were only demoing the first one.
Oh, that's exciting. I love The Matrix. One of my favorite movies. And so getting to sit down, I'd played Buffy before, and it was an okay, like, I'm not a huge Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, so it was an interesting experience playing that, but I really, really liked the Matrix expansion. It was it was like 90% done. Like it flowed well. I didn't really have anything that that I felt was like unbalanced or anything like that. They just had to work on. I think there's a defense stat that are on your avatars that they're like, we're still trying to figure out how that's supposed to work. But it was loads of fun. I like the art on it. I do wish it's stills that somebody of the movie that somebody has done the artwork of. So I kind of wish that it was just stills of the movie, personally. But it was still looked really cool.
That's interesting. I'm guessing the popular opinion is the opposite.
Oh
because
yeah,
people are about the photographic cards, but we'll have to wait and see what they look like.
yeah. But I'm absolutely going to pick it up as soon as it's out, which is in like what 9 months I think they were saying.
Yeah, I mean, we also got to
Yeah.
keep in mind that the cards we were playing on were proxies. They were printed out copies of the card on paper, so they may look better on an actual like printed card as well. But I agree. Like I just watched the Matrix series for the first time this last year. I can't say I love it, but it was a very entertaining show. But the game played enough like Legendary for people that know how to play the game to be familiar with it and just step right in and learn the new extra stuff. But it had enough extra stuff that was all very flavorful for the Matrix that it just made for a really fun experience.
Yeah, so each movie is going to be split into 3 acts, and we played through Act 2 in the demo, which is, if you're familiar with the movie, after Neo takes the pill and wakes up in the real world, and then he's training within those Matrix programs to go back in, and that's the part of the movie that we were playing through. I was playing with 2 people that had never played any Legendary before, and then Rob Ford, who is the product manager at Upper Deck, was our demo leader, and he jumped in and played with us because we didn't have enough people. And it's one of the most fun experiences I've had playing Legendary. Just one of the coolest mechanics is that you have a little character stand, and you physically jump in and out of the matrix during your turn, and you can only buy when you're out of the matrix and only fight when you're in the matrix, and you have to make a decision about where you want to be, and you can lose the ability to move back and forth as well, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I really like that. And the key point was that you could only move in and out of the matrix once per turn. Like you could either move into it or move out of it. You couldn't like do both.
It was a very cool game. I don't like the Matrix. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that, but I don't like the Matrix in general. So I wasn't too happy about playing the game in general. But I played the game and I loved it, and I can't wait for it to come out because that will be my first Encounters game that I buy. Pretty sure.
Well, I've personally only seen the first movie, but I'm curious to check it out and maybe, like with some other game properties that might encourage me to watch the original property to better understand the game. But very cool. It sounds like it's a new inventive way to do encounters, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've recently bought the Alien and Predator encounter sets off the secondhand market, and then I've been rewatching all of the movies because I want to see them again before I jump in and try the games. And I'm sure when they give a release date for the Matrix, I'm going to rewatch that trilogy and then play through them in the game, and I'm really excited for that experience.
That's a really
Yeah.
neat idea. That's
An
super thematic.
interesting thing I don't think that we've mentioned about part of the game style of the Matrix is there were like extra decks. Like normally you just have like your villain deck and your hero deck, right? And they had like a I don't remember what they were called. An events deck, I think it was. And
I think it was like objective. Yeah.
yeah, there was just a couple extra decks that you got that cards brought other cards in from, which was a really interesting idea for me. I couldn't understand what Kyla just tried to say.
I said it was a strike deck. When
That's
you were,
what it was.
yeah,
Mhm.
when something was in the strike area, you would have to play a card, and it would hurt. It would hurt your avatar.
Yeah, in addition to that, we triggered one of the events, and then there was a side deck we pulled cards out of that went immediately into one of the zones on the board. I forget what it was called, but they were these agents that were guarding Morpheus, but they didn't attack you, and they were pulled from the side. And then there were other cards we kept pulling in and out of those side piles as well.
Yeah, the guy running our game had just this reserve of cards that existed like outside of the games. I guess you would call them tokens for the purpose of gameplay. But like the Oracle was a token that he ended up bringing in because the mission thing that we ended up having to do, we made it all the way through Act 3 if I remember correctly, and we like got to like do the whole Oracle experience.
Yeah, I knew we won one of our events, and it was the Matrix that we won. It wasn't Black Widow.
Yeah, we got all the way through and won it. We defeated what's his name?
Agent Smith.
Yeah, that.
Really cool. Yeah, I look forward to finding out more about it. I'll probably see some blogs on it as well. And it's nice to, when I started with Legendary, it's all Marvel all the time. But the more I learn about it, there's there's a lot to love about all the other ones. Even James, and I haven't seen that many James Bond movies, but the newest expansion I was paying close attention to. So I look forward to seeing more from Matrix. So thanks for sharing that. Let's move on to the tournament event. So Legendary held their, I think it's officially called the Legendary World Championship Tournament, or the 5K tournament, where it was was it Swiss and then double elimination, and then the winner gets 5K. Yeah. So
none of us made it past the Swiss round, but I think it was single elimination after that.
Single elimination. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and the winner didn't get 5K. It was a prize pulled down to like 16th place.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. And there were some other things, like I think some of the promos went out to the top 18. I think they got the Black Widow scheme promos. Not 100%. I'll have to check on that. But as far as your guys' tournament experience, you did all enter, as you said. I didn't get past the Swiss level, but what was it like playing Legendary in that way? How did the tournament experience go for you? I'd love to hear about that.
It's not my way to play Legendary. I've learned I'm not a tournament guy, so I'll stick away from tournaments from now on.
So if you want to give an overview of how those games worked versus traditional Legendary.
Yes, it felt very competitive, as it should in a tournament. There were a lot of rules. Well, I shouldn't say rules. There were a lot of people who were playing who were not the friendliest of people. I'll say that. And they didn't make the experience very welcoming. So it just didn't fit well with me. It wasn't my thing.
That's tough. I'm sorry to hear that. As far as how did you move on? What was the criteria needed to win? Was it just VP based? How did that go?
Whoever had the highest VP of the 4 people that were playing got, I think it was 5 points.
Yeah, 5 points.
Then the second place got 3 points, and then third place got 1 point, and fourth place got nothing. And it was just based on whoever had the most points out of the 3 rounds we played got to move on.
Gotcha. So it was just a mad grab for VP the whole time.
Yeah, and then there was like 6 different tiebreakers.
I mean, I'm used to that. That's kind of necessary for Legendary, because it's not, I guess the versus tournaments I would imagine are a lot more straightforward, because it's somebody wins, somebody loses. This is the numbers can match up. And as far as the setup for the tournament, what was that like?
The mastermind was Killmonger. I forget what the scheme was, but
it was the Throne's Favor one.
Throne's Favor one. That's what it was.
Seize the Wakandan throne.
Yes.
Yep. And I noticed that very few people were actually hitting the mastermind or a lot of the villains with the wound mechanic, because then you just make it easier for someone else to get points.
Yep.
And so it was a very interesting way to play, because I run a league in my local community where we play in person, and we play competitively with a similar structure, except like the games you do, Bagel, where each player has their own 3 heroes. We kind of play like that. So I was used to playing competitively, but this was a lot more cutthroat, because people were playing for thousands of dollars. So it made it a very interesting experience. I think my first 2 tables, everyone was kind of really friendly, which kind of contrasts what Monty experienced, unfortunately. And then I got to my 3rd table, and I was playing with either Ollie or Kyla. I forget which of you it was.
It was me.
Okay, it was Ollie. And Ollie and I, were kind of talking and having a friendly banter, and the other 2 were just sitting silently playing, trying to win. And that was not as fun of an experience per se.
I didn't get to play with anybody that I knew. I guess I just didn't get lucky enough to get with them. But my people were generally friendly. I mean, my first table was really friendly. The second table was kind of the odd one. And then the third table, we were all, just commiserating because we were all the losers on that one. So we weren't really super competitive, I guess. I mean, we were competitive, but I had kind of just given up at that point because I knew I wasn't moving on. But everybody, for me, I know Monty had a rough time with his tables, and that is unfortunate. But generally, I think most of our people were pretty okay. Seems like everyone enjoyed playing the game and knew a little bit about it.
Yeah, the majority of my pods were friendly. Like my first pod was pretty good. I had the unique experience of I I ended up at the very bottom of the bracket for my second game. I was going to be in a pot of 3, and everybody else was in a pot of 4. But our third person ended up dropping off, so I literally got to play a 2-player game and a 4-player setup for my second match, which was good because I was guaranteed either first or second place. But that was interesting to go into. We had a great game. We both had the decks we wanted. We were both playing, and I don't think either of us were really keeping up with who was going to be in first or who was going to be in second because we knew we were guaranteed points. And then I echo what Captain Metroid said about our third pod. It was a little staler than some of the rest. But on top of just the pod experiences, I would definitely want to acknowledge that the tournament by far was the best ran Upper Deck event. They definitely had their stuff together for it. They had a 7 to 8 page rule document. They had it figured out.
Yeah, you sent me the entire rule document so I could take a look, and yeah, everything was covered.
I didn't do that.
I mean, you didn't send me anything.
Yeah,
it's available online, so I got to see it early. Go ahead.
The Upper Deck staff that were running the tournament were very professional, very organized, very friendly. I mean, across the board, all of the Upper Deck staff were wonderful and super friendly, but the tournament people, they really ran a smooth operation.
That's great to hear because I can, there's so much that goes into that, and I'm going to be talking with Simon later about that, who helped organize this tournament. But there's so much logistics involved, and then with the new expansion and with Legendary, which is a cooperative game in the first place. So I'm glad to hear that, and that's a lot of effort put into it. So I'm glad you all had at least somewhat of a good experience with it, even though you guys got out the first round. But there's always next time.
That's Legendary for you.
Yeah.
Better. I was saying the tournament was definitely a lot better than the events. I know I talked to you about, we first started playing some of the events. We had a team event, and I was very nervous to see how the tournament was going to be ran, considering how rough the first events were for us. Mm-hmm. So it was definitely ran well when it came time for the tournament.
Yeah, I'd give Simon a lot of props for the way the tournament ran. But yeah, our first two team events were pretty shaky on kind of how they played out, and I know Kyla had a scheme or two that required a sidekick, and then we had a scheme or something or a twist that ended up trying to bring in an additional hero group. And we pulled one of the judges over and was asking questions about, do we need this? Do you guys have this? And they were like, well, it should have been in the box. And so we looked in the box and there was nothing else in the box. And they're like, well, how many heroes do you have? And we said, well, we have 4 hero groups. And they're like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be. And we're like, oh, okay. Did we just add this group by accident? And then we went back and looked at how many heroes were supposed to be in a 4-player setup. And we had the right number, but we needed an extra one. So we sort of cheated, but we still lost.
That was a pretty rough setup, though.
It was awful. Monty, you were in that pod. Yeah, it was. We got wrecked by some Sentinel ones and Mr. Sinister clones. This cloning in the city was never empty. It was always full.
I did enjoy the setup. It just needed to be if you're gonna bring these schemes that require sidekicks or an extra hero group, I don't know why you wouldn't have included those, because on our pod during that game we couldn't win, or we couldn't lose technically to the scheme because there was no sidekicks, so we couldn't.
Oh, you mean the only time we won that setup?
Well, I'm talking about the first pod because I had the first team event, not the one about. Yeah, that's true.
So that was the veiled unveiled schemes from Messiah Complex, where it needs you to make a stack of sidekicks, and you didn't have those for the stack.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the events, by the way, separate from the tournament, did you have to schedule for those times as well, or were those walk-ups?
They were scheduled.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many events? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying they were scheduled through Gen Con.
Yeah, and they cost money to participate in.
Yeah, you buy your event tickets and then you turn in your tickets once you come to the event, and I'm assuming they cash them out or whatever they do with them.
Gotcha.
That was what kind of bothered me. If it was just a free event, I could kind of just go with it and be like, okay, it was fine. but like we paid money for that, and I really do feel like I don't feel like for the team events especially that we got our money's worth on that personally. The winter box, obviously, I won, so I got my money's worth on that. But it was still the same thing. Is like we couldn't complete the scheme. We just had to wing it.
Speaking of winging it, I was surprised you didn't have an Angel Hero set in your pocket the whole time, just to hey, you know what? Here, I got this.
I did one of these team events as well. It was to play through a Messiah complex setup, and we had to defeat Bastion, and all of his forms and all the extra masterminds and stuff. And I played with 3 people that owned, a couple of sets and played fairly often, and we had a really great time playing. The prizes were from the organized play kit 1, so it was the Avengers versus the Loki playmat, the acrylic Loki, the holographic Thor, and the holographic Unleash the Power of the Cosmic Cube. And what I was kind of disappointed about was, um, at the end, they gave us each the Scheme promo and each a Thor promo, and then we had to divvy up ourselves the Loki and the playmat. And there were 3 people that came together and me, and I was really worried I wasn't going to get the prize that I wanted. And they ended up being really nice and helping me out, which was nice. But I didn't really realize that's what it was going to be like going in. I thought everybody was going to be able to get everything if we won, and that wasn't the case. So I feel like if that had been advertised a little bit better, it wouldn't have caught me off guard as much.
Yeah, I would echo that as well for sure. We did have the group of where we won that setup. We had were really nice and helped make the decision making for the prize pool better. But going into that without that knowledge was, I think it may have been a little bit unfair. Because like Kyle said, is like we're paying for these events. We are trying to get our money's out of it, and we want to. I personally just want to be informed as what's going on. That's why I was always wanting to have the rules for the tournament, because Kyle and I, we like to strategize. It would have been great to be able to go in and try to strategize for this kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that all totally makes sense. That's interesting about the prices. I would have never expected that, and some of those playmats are pretty cool. So I'm glad you were able to work that out, and I hope that other people participating were able to work that out as well. But that's tricky, trying to sort out
Yeah,
who gets what.
it was a nice bonding experience. The 3 guys that I was playing with, after the game was over, we sat and talked about Legendary for about 30, 45 minutes. Um, I don't remember their names, but the one guy, he was telling me and showing me pictures about one of his setups. He was fighting against Galactus, and he had a Funko Pop Galactus, but it looked like it must have been at least a foot tall. And as Galactus destroyed city spaces, they moved this foot tall Funko Pop across the playmat, standing
That's
on the
so
city
cool.
spaces. And I'm
That's
just like,
hilarious.
I never would have known that before if I hadn't just stayed and hung out and talked to these other legendary players and had this great experience with them.
Yeah, the players that everybody that I played with and met were great. Everybody was very friendly. The one that where we won, we ended up. I got to choose between the Loki promo or the player mat, and I just gave the mat away because they had talked the people that I was with. Um, 2 of them didn't play; they were just there to be up bodies for the main guy that was playing with us. And but we sat and talked too until they kicked us out. They said, "Hey, we got to get set for another game." And I was like, but generally, that was honestly the best experience for the anything with Upper Deck was just the people that I got to talk to. Everybody was very friendly. It was just the logistical side of things, was the only thing that I was really had a negative, spin on.
Yeah,
People,
I love the Discord community, but there's nothing like talking to people in person about this stuff. With that must have been pretty neat for all of you who were there. As far as people there, you guys did mention some of the Upper Deck staff, like Jade and Rich were there, who are on the streams often. Rob Ford was there, and we saw a picture of all the staff. There was a lot of folks. How was your interaction with any of them at this at Gen Con this year?
Yeah, one of the first things I did was when we walked up to the booth, Jade was there, and I said, "Hey, it's Jade," and she goes, "Hey," and I said, "Ollie," and she goes, "Yeah, that's what I thought," and I was like, "Okay, did you?" But she was really personable and really sweet. Um, Most of the people that I interacted with were pretty good. Like I said, the judges that I interacted with were great. The people at the booth, there was a couple of salespeople that I think just kind of acted like they were there to just kind of do their job and weren't super interactive. But like people in the demo area were fantastic. They, even the ones that may not have known the game very well, were still personable and trying to keep the game going and talking to us about what was coming out. Um, and then there was the person doing the scheduling. She was always nice too.
I only had one really negative experience with the staff, and it was just a guy that kind of seemed like we were debating between sleeves, and we were asking how much are they, and he's like they're like 12. I think it was like $10 or $12. Just depends on which one you want. And I was like, oh, okay, like no, like there was just no personality behind him. He just seemed like he was just there. But everybody else, like Jade was really nice. Um, they just generally, like, besides that one experience, was generally pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't get the opportunity to talk to Rich, who was the time I saw him was right before I think it was our Matrix demo, and he was having a conversation with several people, and I didn't want to like just jot and be like, "Hi, it's me, bye."
Yeah, I got to speak to both Jade and Rich for a couple minutes each, and Jade was super awesome. She even and when I was talking to her about entering the Legendary Gamer contest, she even remembered reading my entry from last year, and was talking to me about it. She couldn't say much because she didn't want to say if I did well or not or whatever, but it was really nice that she remembered what I wrote about, which is cool. And I got to spend a few minutes talking to Rich, and he is just as goofy and silly and friendly and awesome as he is on the stream.
That's awesome. Yeah, Rich is since he started doing the streams, it's really upped the quality. His presence is wonderful, and I think he does such a great job there. And Jade's been super cool to work with. She's been the one who's helped sending me the early set so I can do my videos on them and review them. So I've been chatting with her a couple of times on that. So that's pretty cool. That they're just as awesome in person as they seem to be over Twitch and otherwise. As far as meeting people and having legendary experiences, I know you guys met up later to play more legendary on your own. Is that right? And what did you guys play? And who all was there?
It was me, Ollie, and Montax met up Sunday, and we played a setup that Ollie had designed.
How was it playing with just you guys after all the events and all the tournament and everything that went along with that? Just playing a regular traditional game as you as you wanted to.
It was
Wait,
a relief. We had
Yeah.
sidekicks.
Exactly.
Awesome.
we were adversarial or anything like that. It was just kind of a relaxing game.
Very nice.
And a quick game.
Yeah, it was relatively quick. I was trash. though.
You were only trash for like the first 10 turns.
No, that was a joke. I ended up getting Captain America and finally started running with it. But I was
Yeah.
absolute trash for the first part of the game, and I was like, this is pointless.
But then you got Cap, who's your favorite, so I'm happy about that for you.
And it worked out.
Awesome. Oh, that's a ton of legendary, which I know you were all mostly there for. As far as other games, I saw a picture of your haul, Ollie and Kyla, from what you brought back, especially. So, if you guys want to touch on any of the other games that you maybe had demoed or got or looked at or learned about at Gen Con, what was your experience with things outside of maybe legendary, with maybe versus, or if you did versus, or anything else outside of Upper Deck?
We found a cute little deck building game that like features dogs. It's hounds and something I can't remember, but it was pretty cute. The dude was a very good salesman on it. That's the only board game I think that we've played since we've gotten back.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff. We got a 2 boxes full of random games that they were just. Guy was just like, it's a mystery box. He can let us swap them out if there were duplicates in there. That was really honestly. I feel like while we went up there for legendary, I think our experience was like legendary was kind of like on the back burner for us in terms of what we really enjoy playing.
I agree.
We played the Hounds of the Round Table. That was a lot of fun.
That's what that was.
Yes, but I think our favorite game was something called Witch Hunt, which is a social deduction game. It actually held Jasper's interest for an entire day. He played probably 6 or 7 hours, and Jasper is pretty bad with his ADHD, and so getting him to sit down and play for like more than an hour is a stretch. And that boy played every game from 6 p.m. until what 3 a.m.
Yep, that last day was till 3 a.m. And like my thing about it was by the time we played the third game, I was sold. I was like, we need this for game night. I want to learn how to run this because I'm interested in this. And I started like the cool part about it was we had the developer who was running the games in the what's called Deception Alley is where they play all the social deduction games after 6 p.m. Like Werewolf and stuff like that. But the game developer was the one running it, so like we got to ask anything and everything we wanted to about the game and its development and its future and everything about that. So that was really cool to me.
Very neat. I imagine that there were a lot of developers for smaller games there willing to talk about their games.
Yeah, everybody was super excited that we met about talking about their games, and you can tell how much work and effort went into the planning of all of this. Just everybody, especially like the small indie creators, were just a treat to talk to because you can see they're passionate about their what they've spent their time and effort on, and that to me goes a long way to making me want to buy the game. Because when you see somebody that's super psyched and super excited about it, you kind of pick up on that excitement too.
Yeah, one of the last things we picked up was this game based around like Merlin and Avalon, and we were just walking by. It was the last day. Me and Kyla didn't get to spend a whole lot of time browsing the exhibits because we were participating in so much Legendary, and the other few events that we did play. So the last day, I was like, okay, we need to browse the exhibits. We need to figure out what we're going to try to buy, and we came across this one like indie type developer. We have a couple of their games, but I didn't recognize the name of them until I saw this game that we have on our table, and I'm like, oh hey, this is these guys, and I like Merlin and King Arthurian legends and stuff, and so that game captured my interest just based on its name alone. And the salesperson just comes up to us and she's like, have you ever played? And we're like, no. She's like, well, this one's about to come out and XYZ, and just told us everything about the game. And we're like, well, we'll come back later and possibly buy this. And before we walked away, we went over to the playtesting area to look at it, and the other dude just immediately jumped in and was like, here's what's going on, here's how it works, you guys look excited. And I'm like, I'm sold. Like that was the last thing I bought before they closed the exhibits, and then when they closed the exhibits, everything started getting torn down immediately. They were ready to go home.
Yeah, I totally understand. So yeah, overall, sounds like you guys all had a great time. Thank you for sharing your experiences at Gen Con 2022. If you guys are able to go next year, is that something you guys are going to try to do?
Okay, for me, I think I've had enough. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a gamer. So that was a great experience to have, but I don't think I'll do it again. I went with a bunch of friends who are awesome gamers who love every type of game, so they'll probably go again. But for me personally, I won't.
One of the things that I learned when I was there, I picked up one of the booklets with all the information about the convention, is that the day before the con starts, they have a trade day, and they have all these like seminars and such that you can attend. And one of the groups of people that they aim towards that day is professional development for teachers. And I'm a teacher, so what I'm actually going to be doing this year is trying to find money either through my school district or through grants to try and pay for me and some of the other teachers that help me run a board game club at my school, to get them to pay for us to go to the trade day at Gen Con next year. And then out of my own pocket, I'll pay for staying for the rest of the time. And that should make it a little bit affordable for me to go. And I can get some stuff that I can bring back to my school and help the students there.
That's really neat. I hope that works out for you. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I believe it was the first day. Ollie was asking me, okay, how much do we need to set aside to come back, or something like that. So I think I know Jasper really wants to go back. I would love to go back. Hopefully we can save up enough money to make it. We spent quite a bit of money on this trip, but I definitely want to go back. I know Ollie does, and Jasper definitely does. I want to know if Bagel, if you're going to go, because I think that's also might get people to go.
Yeah, that would. I do not know. I was not obviously able to go this year. I do not know what 2023 holds. I'd obviously love to go. It sounds like an absolute blast. So we're gonna have to stay tuned on that one.
Bagel
hoping
for
so.
Legendary Gamer 2023. I mean, I
I
want to
did-
win, but Bagel would be my next choice.
That's nice of you. I didn't say that. I realized halfway through while you guys were at the con, I'm like, why didn't I send out bagel lanyards to you guys so you could just wear them and find each other? So I am serious. I'm definitely doing that for next year. So anybody who's going, I will send them to you, and you can wear them if you
I
like.
think the worst part about the convention for me is that every single lanyard had Legendary on it. So I'd
Yeah.
look at someone, I'd be like, oh, they play Legend. Oh, never mind. Everybody has those.
Oh, I was the same way. I would be like, just like in that, like I would just get immediately excited and immediately disappointed. I was like, oh, right.
See,
Yeah, it was such a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, being the fact that we'd never been before, I think that would have taken me off guard. I got lucky, I guess, in the fact that I watched a Gen Con preview on YouTube and saw that they were wearing last year's Legendary Gamer logos, and I was like, "How'd they get those?" And then I saw everybody in the convention hall wearing them too. I got pre-information more than everybody else, I guess.
Gotcha. Yeah, I could. The double take. I can imagine that that being a thing. Okay, well, it's about an hour, so thank you guys so much for sitting down to talk to me about this. I'll be putting this up a little later. I really appreciate it. Not just that, but all the pictures and stories and everything that you guys shared while you were there was invaluable to myself and anybody else who was not able to go. So I really do appreciate that, you guys.
No problem.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. And let me give you guys a second to shout out anything you got online, your socials or whatever. So where can people find you? Starting with you, Monty.
So I'm with a group called Ball in the House. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. Ball in the House.
Awesome. And you, Captain Metroid.
I run a fan website for Legendary called legendarycardgame.com. I'm still surprised that Upper Deck didn't own that to this day. If you want to preview cards that you don't own yet, you can go there and look at them to help you guide your purchasing decisions. And we recently launched a commenting feature so you can find your favorite heroes and talk about your favorite ways to use them, whether that be your favorite combinations or you have a favorite comic book issue and you create a setup to play through that storyline. Those are all great things to share with the community.
Yeah, it's super cool. I've been watching the development on that, and you got that up pretty quickly, and I've been using it, so it's very, very useful. By the way, I'll link all your stuff. Everybody's in the description on the video. And Ollie and Kyla, yourselves.
You can find us in Bagel's Discord.
They are there a lot.
Yeah, houseofmow.net links to our Twitch channel, which we don't really use that much at all anymore because it's just been a lot of stress and time has been.
And we don't have the room anymore.
We also don't have the room. Yeah, we lost our streaming room. But yeah, if we ever stream, that'll be where we're at. So houseofmao.net.
Fair enough. I do look forward to the day where you guys do go back because I did really enjoy watching your streams and engaging with your stuff. So I know I'm not the only one. So we hope that happens again. Okay, thank you everybody. Until next year at Gen Con, whoever's able to go, make sure you guys enter the Legendary Gamer contest, link in the description, so you can get the treatment that Monty got this year as well. And of course, stay tuned to this channel for updates on everything Legendary. Probably the next stuff's going to be more Black Widow, but we'll see what it is. Okay, take care. Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.